Olá, bem-vindos ao nosso último episódio da série Construindo Escolas Promotoras de Saúde, uma conversa com o professor Didier Jourdan, um projeto elaborado com muito carinho pela Comissão de Educação, que está chegando aqui ao fim. E para a gente finalizar nossas discussões, professor, nossa última pergunta, à luz da sua trajetória e das suas pesquisas, o que o senhor considera mais importante para que a gente consiga avançar na construção de escolas que promovam saúde, favoreçam as aprendizagens e garantam que todas as crianças e jovens possam participar, se comunicar e desenvolver plenamente os seus potenciais? E quais contribuições a fonoaudiologia pode oferecer para esse futuro?
So in light of your professional trajectory and research, what do you consider most important for advancing the development of schools to promote health, support learning, and ensure that all children and young people can participate, communicate, and fully develop their potential? And what contributions can speech-language pathology make toward this future?
Thank you very much for this question about the way in which simply we can move forward. Before talking about the future, we also need to acknowledge a lot has been done, and every day, today, in every school in Brazil, people are working to promote equity, inclusion, health. No, every day, including today, speech therapists are contributing to supporting the school in the prevention of all the difficulties linked to language and learning, and they are taking care of the peoples in need. What's important for me to talk about the future is start by what we already have. And you know, in the chair, we have a mantra. We say if you want to think about the future, you just need to use 3 verbs. To support the evolution of a system of a school, you need first start by valuing what's existing, sharing the successes, the activities, the initiatives, the innovations, and enrich it, especially by training. Valuing, sharing, enriching. So when you ask me the question of what to do for the future, I won't reply, oh, you have to implement the program XYZ and the policy XYZ. What we need, valuing, recognizing that every day, all healthcare professionals, including speech therapists, all education professionals are doing things that are contributing to promote the health of young people and to promote educational success in an equitable and inclusive way. Second, what could be the priority after showing how we value the existing is to share it. Because very often, you know, in a school, what's doing by a teacher, by the principal, by the healthcare professional of the health unit who comes to talk about reproductive health, nutrition, mental health, it's not known by all the community, by the parents, by the partners. So just share what is existing in order for all the people, all the stakeholders to understand how they contribute. What is my little piece in the big puzzle? Sharing. And the third, of course, is enriching, because nothing's perfect. There's always need to move forward. And this is then why capacity building by training is the key issue. Then, you know, valuing, sharing, enriching are for me the most important approach to move forward. You cannot patronize the school and say, oh, what you're doing is not good, now we need to do that. It doesn't work, you know, and if you think you can do it, okay, just become the school principal and the teacher, and you'll see that you will face the same difficulties. No, it's not like that. It's creating the conditions to value, share, and enrich the activities of the professionals. Research shows that what at the very core of the success of the health promoting school approach is the local capacities. There's an interesting work that has been made by universities here in Brazil about the impact of the social determinants, poor or rich schools, and the impact of the capacities of the professionals in the school environment. Of course, the implementation of a school health policy depends on the social context, but the importance of the capacities at the local level is much more important. So if you want to move forward, then you need to develop the capacities at a local level. Then first, valuing, sharing and enriching, and second, developing the capacities at the local level, mostly by training. There's also a need for leadership, there's a need for resources, but this idea of developing the collective capacity of action from the side of the healthcare professionals and the side of the education professionals, it's the key engine, I would like to say, that could push forward the development of health promoting schools. Finally, we must recognize that it's also a political question. Deciding that schools have a key role in health promotion, generating participatory approaches, creating partnerships with the third sector organization, this is a political choice. Some people don't share this vision just because they don't know what really influences health. And then clearly, and I also especially think of your organization, this question of advocacy is extremely important. And we use within the chair a model, we call that the kingdom model of social change, always trying to have in mind three things if we want to move forward from a political point of view. The stream of the problems, the streams of the solution, and the stream of the political changes. What does it mean? It means that if you want to contribute to promote the more inclusive and more equitable policies in schools, you need to make evident that we have a problem, that exclusion has an impact of young people, has an impact of the social organization, has an impact on the economy of the country. Then the role of your organization and many of our organizations is to make the case for the impact, for example, of the consequences of speech and language issues in school, the impact on the difficulties, the impact then on, the fact that some kids are left behind and then are not able to contribute to the social life. The first thing is always to make the case for these issues, to advocate for that. This is the stream of the problem. But it's not enough. If policymakers want to contribute to make schools more equitable and more inclusive, they need to have solutions. And this is your role, because you, within your professional activities, alone in the field of speech therapy and also collectively with other people engaged in health promotion, you need to be able to offer solutions. If you want to have a school system more inclusive, then we need policies at the school level. We need to be sure that we take into account the needs and the special needs of the young people, that we create the intersectoral connection, etc. But for that to work, of course, you need to be connected to the political cycles, because the decisions are taken, during the campaigns or during some certain times. And then, if you're able to make clear for the population that there's a problem with the way in which we are putting in practice the policy of inclusion. If you're able to demonstrate, to show that health promoting school policies are relevant, if you are connected to the political cycles just to push that forward at the right time, you are what we call a window of opportunity. And then the role of the organization like yours is, of course, to advocate for the speech therapist and the importance of this activity, but more than that, to show that you can contribute to equity and inclusiveness in schools by, one, the problems, second, the solution, and third, the political cycles, to open windows of opportunities for change in favor of the children and the young people.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us, with our Brazilian speech therapists. It's been an honor to be able to hear from you and all of these reflections. And once again, we thank you for this participation.
Thank you for the invitation. It was an honor to contribute to your reflection, and I must say that I learned a lot from the speech therapist because of the specific positioning in the system. So thanks a lot for all you're doing.
Professor, muito obrigada pela sua generosidade e por partilhar com a gente as suas experiências. Foi bastante importante para nós estar aqui hoje, conversar com você sobre esse assunto tão relevante que é a promoção de saúde. Agradeço a parceria de todos que nos acompanharam aqui ao longo desses episódios e deixo um convite para acompanhar os desdobramentos dessa conversa. Muito obrigada. Obrigada.